Hello, I'm here to discuss another musical. I'm here with my boyfriend Adam.
Hello.
Basically, I've been doing my dissertation, I've been eating a lot of crap, and I've not only put on weight, but have a breakout of spots, so you'll just have to make do without my face for today. What are we discussing today, Adam?
You said we're doing something about a musical, which involves Beatles and juice.
Do you like it?
It's alright, isn't it? The music's catchy.
I do overall like the musical. Just so everyone knows how much knowledge I have on this, I have listened to the soundtrack. Obviously, that was my first point of entry. You've listened to most of the soundtrack probably through me just playing it.
Yeah, I've just listened to you sing the soundtrack, so that... If it's not very good, then you'll probably get the blame for that, won't you?
All right, okay, cracking, thanks.
Yeah.
And I have seen a total of, I think, 7 full bootlegs now. Neither of us have been able to go see the show in person because we live in Gateshead and we don't have the money to fork out to fly to New York.
And lockdown, you know.
Well, yeah, that now. One of them had Dana Steingold as Lydia, 3 of them had Presley Ryan as Lydia, and the other 3 had Sophie Ann Caruso as Lydia, and I believe 3 had Rob McGloh's replacement for Adam, which was, I believe, David Joseph Berg. He was playing Adam in 3 of them. I have different opinions on all 3 Lydias. Based on what I've seen, but we'll get into that later. Okay, so obviously I know that I'm obsessed with the movie and have been for quite some time. What's your general opinion of the film?
We watched it once on a plane to America, to Disney, and that's sort of it. I think that's all I've seen. That's when
you watched it.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to discuss is the differences between the musical and the movie.
Well, the musical has songs.
Yes.
Yes, there's a big difference.
Okay, so largely in the musical, it follows Lydia, and in the movie, while Lydia's a main character, it mainly follows Barbara and Adam getting used to the fact they're dead, basically, and all the stuff that comes in with that. I didn't object to this change. I actually think it was a very smart decision because a lot of, lonely teenage girls see themselves in Lydia and Beetlejuice the Musical, much as like I did when I was like 13, 14 in Winona Ryder playing her in the movie. But what I do object to is that Barbara and Adam have largely been pushed to the side and kind of don't fit as well into the story. It's like they've shoehorned in because they know they'd be outraged if they took them out. And one thing I will say, I think they've made them far too goofy to the point where I just find them annoying.
Yeah, from the bits I've seen, like they're not bad. They're not bad the way that they're done. I just think that the inclusion of them isn't.
It's not necessary.
Yeah. It doesn't fit.
One thing I will say, like on them being goofy. So Barbara and Adam in the DC version spoke about the fact they had struggled conceiving and that they had miscarriages. So making them more goofy so that, people aren't literally depressed. Yeah. But I know the movie alludes to them not being able to have children. It doesn't say it directly. So I can understand making them more comedic relief, when you've disclosed like, oh, they've struggled with fertility, they've had a miscarriage, because it's a very heavy subject for a lot of people. But now that's been taken out, I just don't see why they need to be so irritatingly goofy.
Yeah, I think it's more of an addition of more of an innocent sort of character.
I don't know, because in the movie they seem like people you'd want to hang out with. Like the people you can relate to, the ones in the musical you cannot relate to.
Yeah.
At all. They're just not realistic at all. And while Kerry Butler is amazing, how she says Barbara in Ready, Set, Not Yet.
How'd she say it, Ru?
She goes like, Barbara! I hate it. I hate it so much, Adam.
Barbara.
I hate it.
Hello, Barbara.
Oh, her voice suits the songs very well as a whole. But that one bit. Yeah. So, moving on. Stop saying Barbara. Stop it! Barbara! Moving on. I like that they changed Delia into like a weird hippy-dippy life coach. That works really well. What do you think?
I think she's a great character.
And one thing I wanted to say is that I really appreciate the fact they included Miss Argentina. When they first announced Beetlejuice the Musical, I was excited and curious, wanted to find out more, but I was 100% like, Miss Argentina is not going to be in it.
Yeah. Like,
she is not going to be in it. She's such a minor character. Like, she's a cult favourite, but, ultimately, very, very tiny role. And although it could quite easily be taken out and the story's the same, I think it meant a lot to hardcore fans of the film that they included her in. And she has one of the best songs.
Yeah.
In the entire musical.
Oh.
It's so, so good. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is costuming. I doubt you have many opinions on this.
No.
Generally, the costuming standard in the musical is really, really good, as is the set and the lighting. However, one thing I would say about Lydia is that because her costume is all black, it blends into the background way too much. In the DC version, Sophia Anne Caruso didn't actually have a wig for Lydia. She just had her own hair, which is like almost white shade of blonde. And although I don't necessarily, like the idea of Lydia having blonde hair, I thought overall it looked better because she stood out more. Like, even, she wears fully black clothes.
Yeah.
If she had red hair, like, you could have bright red hair, or like orange hair or green or whatever, and it still be gothic. So I think adding a wig to Lydia of some sort of like richer dark colour would just make her stand out way more. The blocking in the show is poor.
Go on, Ro.
Well, no, straight up it is poor. Like,
go on.
The choreography generally for the ensemble is really good. However, there's just a lot of times where, I'll listen to a song on the soundtrack and I'll be like, yeah, I imagine all these different stage things happening in my head, and then you look and they're just stood around. Dead Mom is a perfect example of this. It's like, she's stood in the middle of the stage. She walks up a bit of stairs, comes back down the stairs.
Yeah, but with a song like that, don't you need like a sad sort of boring song to split things up?
I don't think necessarily it's always the actor's fault. I think they have been given very, very little instruction, but when you have such an elaborate set and like in certain songs you are very limited with what you can do, you need the instructions. And No Reason is a big example of it, where you see Leslie Critter doing her best to like jump around. But like in my head when I was listening to it, I was like, I can imagine her pushing her around on a chair.
Yeah, I can imagine almost like lighting effects and stuff, or something that's not standing around.
I value your opinion, but I disagree. What's your favourite song that you've heard from Beetlejuice?
Ooh, everyone just likes the whole being dead thing.
Die, you're all gonna die.
And what's your least favourite song?
It's always Dead Mom.
I'm probably talking to myself here.
My least favourite song is Barbara 2.0.
A spin your own yarn, kid?
Barbara.
Barbara!
Favourite song, What I Know Now.
I wouldn't have had my little accident.
And it's very rare in a musical for you to like every single song. Again, my tastes change. I mean, like a year ago, I could not stand a chorus line, and now pretty much is all I listen to. So my tastes change. A large part of why I don't listen to the soundtrack an awful lot in general, like quite a lot of the songs, is because I really do not personally like Sophia Anne Caruso's voice.
Very nasally.
So Sophia Anne Caruso's voice, I know it's very stylized, and a lot of people are kind of die-hard fans of it.
You sound so uninterested.
Well, I think
and you've got like, what's his name as Beetlejuice?
Alex
Brightman, who's giving it beans every single night.
The bootleg that was uploaded on YouTube recently really highlighted that for me. I mean, to be fair, she didn't sound 100% well in that bootleg. Like, she sounded a bit poorly.
Coronavirus!
So I don't know whether it was just an off performance for her, but she was giving the rest of the cast
nothing.
It was like, my whole life is strange and unusual.
But you could also put it to the fact that maybe she just got sick of the whole show.
In general, the entire cast is better when they are performing with Presley Ryan as Lydia, because I think it's obvious to see that they had a better relationship and better chemistry.
Clear to see that even though offset as well, because you can see that she has a TikTok, doesn't she, Presley Ryan? And they all feature on it, and they're all so happy, learning, doing all these dances and stuff. And you can see that's good chemistry off stage.
But I think Presley Ryan, in general, I like her voice. Early recordings that I heard of her, you could tell she was mimicking Sophia Anne Caruso a little, and I don't know whether that was a her thing or whether she was maybe told to do that. But, actually warm up your voice, don't smoke cigarettes, and try not to sing from your throat all the time. But as time's gone on and I've heard her more and more, her voice is really, I mean, she's only young. I mean, her voice is still,
like
I think she's only just turned 16, yeah.
Her voice is fab.
Yeah, her voice is still developing, so like, there's a few people who are like, oh, but she's still a bit nasally. It's like everyone's nasally when they're 16. I think she's improving more and more. Yeah, she does care for her voice. She uses really good, strong vocal techniques. And the fact that she's an understudy and so many people knew her name is such a big achievement, especially in Broadway, and if it was on the West End, it's a huge achievement. There's barely anyone that can name an understudy.
Yeah.
But there is also Dana Steingold, who plays Girl Scout in the main cast, which is amazing because she was born in the 80s.
Huh.
Yeah, like, so she has some weird youth elixir. As both roles, I think she's really good. There was a recording someone put up of her singing Dead Mom, and oh my god, the comments were filled with entitled people that were like, she can't possibly know how it feels like to be a teenager. No.
Yes, because she's never been a teenager in her life.
Yeah,
she was
like,
born 30 or
it's
something.
just a big fucking eye roll moment. Like, just wait until people hear how old the people in Pretty Little Liars were when they did that show. Oh, they'll be full on outrage.
Ezra. Sorry, I can't go see him without saying his name.
I'll end with some positives and not ranting about random fan people. Leslie Critter.
Which one's she?
Delia.
Oh, she's fab. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
She is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Alex Brightman is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think they were perfect casting. One thing I will say is Beetlejuice was robbed for best lighting at the Tonys. Hadestown did not deserve that. All right, okay, well, so that was our thought on Beetlejuice the Musical. But anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye.
Like, subscribe, comment, bye.
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it.